In the ever-shifting landscape of global geopolitics, few developments have the potential to send shockwaves like the acquisition of nuclear weapons by a controversial regime. Recent reports alleging that Iran has received nuclear weapons from China have ignited a firestorm of controversy and concern, particularly in the volatile Middle East region. Against the backdrop of long-standing tensions between Iran and Israel, this revelation threatens to upend the delicate balance of power and usher in a new era of instability and uncertainty. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. The news of Iran's purported acquisition of nuclear weapons from China comes at a time of heightened geopolitical tensions and uncertainty. With the United States withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal and imposing crippling sanctions on Tehran, the Iranian regime has faced increasing pressure from the international community. In this context, the prospect of Iran obtaining nuclear weapons raises alarm bells among policymakers and analysts alike, who fear the destabilizing effects of a nuclear-armed Iran. Central to the controversy surrounding Iran's alleged acquisition of nuclear weapons is the long-standing enmity between Iran and Israel. For years, the two countries have been engaged in a bitter rivalry marked by proxy conflicts, covert operations, and mutual distrust. Israel, which views Iran as its most significant regional threat, has repeatedly warned against Iran's nuclear ambitions and vowed to prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons at all costs. The prospect of Iran obtaining nuclear weapons from China represents a nightmare scenario for Israel, which has long considered a nuclear-armed Iran an existential threat. With its advanced military capabilities and close alliance with the United States, Israel has vowed to take preemptive action to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, including the possibility of military strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities. However, the emergence of China as a potential nuclear supplier to Iran complicates Israel's calculus and raises troubling questions about the effectiveness of its containment strategy. The alleged transfer of nuclear weapons from China to Iran underscores the broader strategic implications of China's growing influence in the Middle East. As China seeks to expand its economic and geopolitical footprint in the region through its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing has forged closer ties with traditional U.S. adversaries like Iran. While China has publicly supported the Iran nuclear deal and called for diplomatic solutions to the Iranian nuclear issue, its alleged provision of nuclear weapons to Iran raises doubts about its commitment to regional stability and non-proliferation efforts. The implications of Iran's purported acquisition of nuclear weapons extend far beyond the immediate concerns of Israel and the Middle East. In a region already beset by conflict and instability, the specter of a nuclear-armed Iran threatens to trigger a regional arms race and further exacerbate existing tensions. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt, which view Iran's growing influence with suspicion, may feel compelled to pursue their own nuclear capabilities in response, leading to a dangerous escalation of hostilities. Iran's acquisition of nuclear weapons could have far-reaching consequences for global non-proliferation efforts and the international nuclear order. As a signatory to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, Iran is legally obligated to refrain from acquiring nuclear weapons. However, the alleged transfer of nuclear weapons from China to Iran raises questions about the effectiveness of the NPT regime and the ability of the international community to prevent nuclear proliferation in an increasingly multipolar world. Amidst the uncertainty and speculation surrounding Iran's alleged acquisition of nuclear weapons, there is a pressing need for clarity and transparency from all parties involved. The international community, including the United Nations Security Council and the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, must urgently investigate the veracity of these reports and take appropriate action to address the threat posed by Iran's nuclear ambitions. For Israel, the alleged transfer of nuclear weapons from China to Iran represents a strategic nightmare, challenging its long-standing policy of containment and deterrence against its regional adversaries. With the specter of a nuclear-armed Iran looming large, Israel may find itself increasingly isolated and vulnerable in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. Moreover, the emergence of China as a potential nuclear supplier to Iran raises troubling questions about the future of non-proliferation efforts and the ability of the international community to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. In the aftermath of the shocking revelation of Iran's alleged acquisition of nuclear weapons from China, the international community finds itself at a critical juncture. The stakes are high, and the potential consequences of Iran's nuclear ambitions reverberate far beyond the borders of the Middle East. As policymakers and analysts grapple with the implications of this development, several key questions emerge that demand urgent attention and action. First and foremost, there is a pressing need for a thorough and impartial investigation into the veracity of the reports alleging Iran's acquisition of nuclear weapons from China. Given the potential ramifications of such a development, it is essential to establish the facts surrounding this issue and ascertain the extent of Iran's nuclear capabilities. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, as the global watchdog responsible for monitoring nuclear activities, must play a central role in this process, conducting comprehensive inspections and verifying the accuracy of the allegations. The international community must adopt a unified and coordinated response to address the threat posed by Iran's nuclear ambitions. This necessitates robust diplomatic engagement and multilateral cooperation aimed at preventing further proliferation and de-escalating tensions in the region. Efforts to revive diplomatic channels, such as the Iran nuclear deal, must be pursued with renewed vigor, offering a pathway towards verifiable limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief and normalized relations. Any diplomatic initiative must also address the broader security concerns of countries in the Middle East, particularly Israel and its Gulf Arab allies. These countries have legitimate fears about Iran's nuclear capabilities and its destabilizing activities in the region, including support for proxy militias and terrorist organizations. As such, any agreement with Iran must include robust mechanisms for monitoring and enforcement to ensure compliance and prevent Iran from exploiting loopholes to advance its nuclear agenda. In parallel with diplomatic efforts, the international community must also consider the potential for targeted sanctions and other punitive measures to deter Iran from pursuing further nuclear proliferation. While sanctions alone may not be sufficient to compel Iran to abandon its nuclear ambitions, they can serve as a deterrent and exert pressure on the Iranian regime to engage in good faith negotiations. Targeted sanctions against entities involved in nuclear proliferation, including Chinese companies facilitating the transfer of nuclear weapons technology, could send a strong message about the consequences of enabling Iran's nuclear program. At the same time, it is essential to recognize the broader strategic implications of Iran's alleged acquisition of nuclear weapons and its potential impact on regional stability and global security. A nuclear-armed Iran could embolden other countries in the region to pursue their own nuclear capabilities, leading to a dangerous escalation of tensions and increasing the risk of nuclear proliferation. Moreover, the specter of a nuclear-armed Iran could trigger a new arms race and undermine decades of efforts to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. In light of these challenges, there is an urgent need for leadership and vision from key stakeholders in the international community, including the United States, China, Russia, and European powers. These countries must set aside their differences and work together to address the root causes of nuclear proliferation and promote peace and stability in the Middle East. Only through concerted and coordinated action can we hope to prevent a catastrophic escalation of hostilities and preserve the integrity of the global non-proliferation regime. The alleged transfer of nuclear weapons from China to Iran represents a grave threat to regional and global security. The international community must respond with resolve and determination, pursuing diplomatic solutions while remaining vigilant against further proliferation. By working together to address the underlying grievances and insecurities driving Iran's nuclear ambitions, we can hope to avert a potentially catastrophic confrontation and pave the way for a more peaceful and secure future for all. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what is your opinion on the recent development of Iran receiving nuclear weapons from China? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.